Om Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudriyate Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bharata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhagavati Naistiki. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 9, Appearance of the Demon Vritrasura, text number 21 onwards. So as we studied yesterday, after King Indra killed Vishwarupa, the Brahman, his father Tvashta, he did the yajna to produce a demon, a huge demon, Vritrasura. Vritra means to cover everything. So he covered everything. And but somehow his father made a mistake in chanting the mantra while doing the yajna. So instead of getting a son who would be an enemy of Indra, he got a son whose enemy was Indra. Means Indra would be able to kill him. So now the fighting had started, and every weapon that the demigods threw at Vritrasura, he just swallowed all their weapons. He was so huge and so powerful. So now the demigods, they just took shelter of the Lord and they started worshipping him. Shri Deva Uchu Vayavambaragne Agnani Pikshit Striya Loka Brahmadeva Vayam Udvijantaha Aram Yasmai Balimantako Aso Vibheti Yasmadaranam Tato Naha. The demigod said, the three worlds are created by the five elements, namely ether, air, fire, water, and earth, which are controlled by various demigods, beginning from Lord Brahma. Being very much afraid that the time factor will end our existence, we offer presentations unto time by performing our work as time dictates. The time factor himself, however, is afraid of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, let us now worship the Supreme Lord, who alone can give us full protection. When one is afraid of being killed, one must take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is worshipped by all the demigods, beginning from Brahma. Although they are in charge of the various elements of this material world. The words Vibhedi Yasmat indicate that all the demons, regardless of how great and powerful, fear the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The demigods, being afraid of death, took shelter of the Lord and offered him these prayers. Although the time factor is fearful to everyone, fear personified is afraid of the Supreme Lord, who is therefore known as Abhay, or fearless. Taking shelter of the Supreme Lord brings actual fearlessness, and therefore the demigods decided to take shelter of the Lord. And that's a right way of living, actually, to take shelter of the Lord in every and any condition possible. That doesn't mean we don't do our work like the demigods. They have taken shelter of the Lord. And it doesn't mean the Lord is going to kill Vritrasura. In the end, Indra is going to kill Vritrasura. But by taking shelter of the Lord, they become fearless. They get special mercy of the Lord, special instructions they might get. And they can carry out their work properly, nicely. Avismitam tam paripurna kamam sveneva labhin samam prashantam vinopasarpatya param hibalishaha shalangule nati titarti sindhum. Free from all material conceptions of existence and never wonderstruck by anything, the Lord is always jubilant and fully satisfied by his own spiritual perfection. He has no material designations, and therefore he is steady and unattached. That Supreme Personality of Godhead is the only shelter of devotees. Anyone desiring to be protected by others is certainly a great fool who desires to cross the sea by holding the tail of a dog. Nice example given. So, anyone trying to cross the material existence, the ocean of material existence, by any other means except taking shelter of the Lord, is like a crossing the sea. It's like somebody crossing the sea by holding the tail of a dog. A dog can swim in the water, but if a dog dives in the ocean and someone wants to cross the ocean by holding the dog's tail, he is certainly fool number one. A dog cannot cross the ocean, nor can a person cross the ocean by catching a dog's tail. Similarly, one who desires to cross the ocean of nescience should not seek the shelter of any demigod or anyone else, but the fearless shelter of the Supreme Personality of God. Srimad Bhagavatam therefore says, Samashrita ye pada pallav plava. The Lord's lotus feet are an indestructible boat. And if one takes shelter of that boat, he can easily cross the ocean of nescience. Consequently, there are no dangers for a devotee, although he lives within this material world, which is full of dangers at every step. One should seek the shelter of the all-powerful instead of trying to be protected by one's own concocted ideas. So that's how one should live. Seek shelter of the all-powerful Supreme Lord. In the process, what is going to happen? Sometimes people say, oh, you don't have strength on your own, that you cannot do it. No, devotees do work. They work hard, but with the right frame of mind, in the right consciousness. So the idea is not just to work. Idea is to do devotional service. Idea is to take shelter of the Supreme Lord so that our consciousness always remains pure. What is the purity? That it's not by my doing I'm getting the results. It's only by mercy of Krishna. So, and also in the process, we don't become proud. We remain humble. And in that state of mind, we can take shelter. We surrender. We can perform bhakti properly. And the idea is to not remain here forever. The idea is to leave this place and go back to the spiritual world. And that can only happen once we take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yasya rushuru jagatim sunama manuryatha badhya tatara durgam sa eva nastvashtra bhyad durantat trata chitran vari charo api nunam. The Manu named King Satyavrata formerly saved himself by tying the small boat of the entire world to the horn of the Matsya Avatar, the fish incarnation. By the grace of the Matsya Avatar, Manu saved himself from the great danger of the flood. May that same fish incarnation save us from the great and fearful danger caused by the son of Krishna. Pura swayam bhurapi sayam bhas yudirana vataror miravah karala ekor avindat patitastatar tasmad bhayad yetsa noastu paraha. In the beginning of creation, a tremendous wind caused fierce waves of inundating water. The great waves made such a horrible sound that Lord Brahma almost fell from his seat on the lotus into the water of devastation. But he was saved with the help of the Lord. Thus, we also expect the Lord to protect us from this dangerous condition. Yaeka isho nij mayaya naha sasarja yena anusrijama vishvam vayam na yasyapi pura samihata Pashyama lingam prithagishmaninaha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead who created us by his external potency and by whose mercy we expand the creation of the universe is always situated before us as a super soul. But we cannot see his form. We are unable to see him because all of us think that we are separate and independent gods. Here is an explanation of why the conditioned soul cannot see the Supreme Personality of Godhead face to face. Even though the Lord appears before us as Lord Krishna or Lord Ramachandra and lives in human society as a leader or king, the conditioned soul cannot understand him. Avajananti mam mula, rascals, mulas, deride the Supreme Personality of Godhead, thinking him an ordinary human being. However insignificant we are, we think that we are also God, that we can create a universe or that we can create another God. This is why we cannot see or understand the Supreme Personality of God. In this regard, Srila Madhvacharya says, we are all conditioned to various degrees, but we think that we are God. This is why we cannot understand who God is or see him face to face. So we think we are God doesn't mean we think that I'm the Supreme Lord, omniscient, omnipotent, but we have this tendency of being the controller, proprietor, enjoyer. In our own way, we want to be like God. And that is why God is not visible to us. Yo na sapatner bhrisham madhyamana devarshihtir yang nrishu nitya eva kritavataras tanubhi swamayaya kritvatma satapati yuge yuge cha tameva devam vematma devatam param pradhanam purusham vishwamanyam vrajam sarve sharanam sharanyam swanam sanno dhasyati sham mahatma. By his inconceivable internal potency, the Supreme Personality of God expands into various transcendental bodies as Vamandev, the incarnation of strength among the demigods, Parshuram, the incarnation among saints, Narsimadev and Varaha, incarnations among animals, and Matsya and Kurma, incarnations among aquatics. He accepts various transcendental bodies among all types of living entities, and among human beings, he especially appears as Lord Krishna and Lord Ram. By his causeless mercy, he protects the demigods who are always harassed by the demons. He is a supreme worshipable deity of all living entities. He is a supreme cause, represented as a male and female creative energies. Although different from this universe, he exists in his universal form, Virata Rupa. In our fearful condition, let us take shelter of him, for we are sure that the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Soul, will give us his protection. In this verse, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, is ascertained to be the original cause of creation. Sridhar Swami, in his commentary, Bhavartha Deepika, replies to the idea that Prakriti and Purusha are the causes of the cosmic manifestation. As stated here in Param Pradhanam Purusham Vishwamanyam, he is a supreme cause represented as the male and female creative energies. Although different from this universe, he exists in his universal form, Virata Rupa. The word Prakriti, which is used to indicate the source of generation, refers to the material energy of the Supreme Lord. And the word Purusha refers to the living entities who are the superior energy of the Lord. Both the Prakriti and Purusha ultimately enter the Supreme Lord, as stated in Bhagavad Gita, Prakritim yanti mamikam. So Prabhupada is explaining about the Purusha and Prakriti and how they interact for this creation, cosmic manifestation. Although Prakriti and Purusha superficially appear to be the causes of material manifestation, both are emanations of different energies of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, the Supreme Lord is a cause of Prakriti and Purusha. He is the original cause. The Nartya Puran says, Avikaru api Parama. Both the Prakriti and Purusha, which are inferior and superior energies, are emanations from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As explained in Bhagavad Gita, the Lord enters the Prakriti and then the Prakriti creates different manifestations. The Prakriti is not independent or beyond his energies. Vasudeva, Lord Shri Krishna is the original cause of everything. So Prakriti on her own, she cannot create. And Purusha, if we think Purusha as a living entity who is superior to Prakriti, but even living entity cannot work on its own without the sanction or mercy of the Supreme Purusha. As Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who perfectly know this engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. In Srimad Bhagavatam, the Lord also says, Aham eva sameva agre. Only I existed before the creation. So means the creation or manifestation of this material world, which is made of Prakriti or material nature. Before that, Krishna existed, even when this was not there. Means he is the original cause of everything. To generate the universe, the Lord acts indirectly as a Purusha and directly as a Prakriti, because both energies emanate from Lord Vasudeva, the all-pervasive Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is known as both Prakriti and Purusha. Therefore, Vasudeva is a cause of everything. Sarva Karana Karana. And that's why the demigods took shelter of the Lord. Text 28. Shri Shukavacha iti tesham maharaj suranam uppatishtatam pratichayam dishya avhudavi shankha chakra gadadhara. Shri Shukdev Goswami said, my dear king, when all the demigods offered him their prayers, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Hari, carrying his weapons, the conch, disc, and club, appeared first within their hearts and then before them. Atmatulya Shodash Bhirvina Shrivatsa Kostubho Paryupasitam Unidrashardamba Rurhekshanam Drishtva Tamavano Sarva Ikshanalad Viklavaha Dandvat Patita Rajan Chaner Uthai Tushtavu. Surrounding and serving the Supreme Personality of God, Narayan was 16 personal attendants, decorated with ornaments and appearing exactly like him, but without the mark of Shrivatsa and the Kaustubh jewel. O king, when all the demigods saw the Supreme Lord in that posture, smiling with eyes like the petals of lotuses grown in autumn, they were overwhelmed with happiness and immediately fell down like rods, offering dandavats. Then they slowly rose and pleased the Lord by offering him prayers. In Vaikuntha Loka, the Supreme Personality of Godhead has 4 hands and decorations like the Shrivatsa mark on his chest and then the gem known as Kaustubha. These are special indications of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Lord's personal attendants and other devotees in Vaikuntha have the same features, except for the Shrivatsa mark and the Kaustubh gem. So this is how in Vaikuntha, the Lord and the other attendants are distinguished. Of course, it's only mentioned Shrivatsa and Kaustubh, but also Vajayanti garland and Komuduki and that club. The other things also, but these 2 are significant. Shri Deva Uch Namaste Yagya Viryaya Vayase Utte Namaha Namaste Yasta Asta Chakraya Namah Supurhurte Pute. The demigod said, O Supreme Personality of God, you are competent to give the results of sacrifice And you're also the time factor that destroys all such results in due course. You're the only one who releases the chakra to kill the demons. O Lord, who possesses many varieties of names, we offer our respectful obeisances unto you. Yatte gatinam tisranam trisranam ishitu paramam padam narva chino visargasya dhatar vedtum arhati. O Supreme Controller, you control the three destinations, promotions to the heavenly planets, birth as human beings, and condemnation in hell. Yet your supreme abode is Vaikuntha. Since we appeared after you created this cosmic manifestation, your activities are impossible for us to understand. We therefore have nothing to offer you but our humble obeisances. An inexperienced man generally does not know what to beg from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Everyone is under the jurisdiction of the created material world, and no one knows what benediction to ask when praying to the Supreme Lord. People generally pray to be promoted to heavenly planets because they have no information of Vaikunthas. Srila Madhvacharya quotes the following verse. There are different planetary systems known as Devalok, the planets of the demigods, Pitrilok, the planets of the Pitas, and Niraya, the hellish planets. When one transcends these various planetary systems and enters Vaikuntha Lok, he achieves the ultimate result of the Vaishnavas. Vaishnavas have nothing to do with the other planetary systems. So next verse is in a prose form, so we'll just go to the translation. O Supreme Personality of Godhead, O Narayan, O Vasudeva, original person, O most exalted person, supreme experience, welfare personified, O supreme benediction, supremely merciful and changeless, O support of the cosmic manifestation, sole proprietor of all planetary systems, master of everything and husband of the goddess of fortune. Your lordship is realized by the topmost sannyasis who wander about the world to preach Krishna consciousness, fully absorbed in samadhi through bhakti yoga. Because their minds are concentrated upon you, they can receive the conception of your personality in their fully purified hearts. When the darkness in their hearts is completely eradicated and you are revealed to them, the transcendental bliss they enjoy is the transcendental form of your lordship. No one but such persons can realize you. Therefore, we simply offer you our respectful obeisances. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has numerous transcendental names pertaining to different grades of revelations, to various grades of devotees and transcendentalists. So he has different names, as Prabhupada says, pertaining to different grades of revelations, to various grades of devotees and transcendentalists. Means everybody is correct in their own viewpoint, from their own perspective, at the level of their own consciousness. When he is realized in his impersonal form, he is called the Supreme Brahman. When realized as a Paramatma, he is called Antaryami. And when he expands himself in different forms for material creation, he is called Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, and Karanodakshaya Vishnu. When he is realized as Vasudeva Sankarshan, Pradyumna and Anirudh, the Chaturvyu, who are beyond the three forms of Vishnu, he is a Vaikuntha Narayan. Above realization of Narayan is realization of Baladev, and above that is a realization of Krishna. All these realizations are possible when one engages fully in devotional service. The covered core of one's heart is then completely open to receiving and understanding of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his various forms. Duravabodha ivam tavayam vihara yogam yad sharno sharira idam anavekshitas matsmam avaya Atmaneva vikriyamanena sagunam aguna srijasi pasi harasi. O Lord, you need no support, and although you have no material body, you do not need cooperation from us, since we are the cause of the cosmic manifestation, and you supply its material ingredients without being transformed. You create, maintain, and annihilate this cosmic manifestation by yourself. Nevertheless, although you appear engaged in material activity, you are transcendental to all material qualities. Consequently, these transcendental activities of yours are extremely difficult to understand. The Brahma Samhita says, Golokeva Nivasati Akhilatma. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is always situated in Golok Vrindavan. It's also said, Vrindavanam Parityajya Padam Ekam Na Gacchati. Krishna never goes even a step from Vrindavan. Nevertheless, although Krishna is situated in his own abode, Golok Vrindavan, is simultaneously all pervading and is therefore present everywhere. This is very difficult for a conditioned soul to understand. But devotees can understand how Krishna, without undergoing any changes, can simultaneously be in his abode and be all pervasive. The demigods are understood to be various limbs of the Supreme Lord's body, although the Supreme Lord has no material body and does not need anyone's help. He is spread everywhere. Maya tadam idam jagat sarvam. Nevertheless, he is not present everywhere in his spiritual form. According to the Mayavad philosophy, the supreme truth, being all pervasive, does not need a transcendental form. Mayavad is opposite, since his form is distributed everywhere. He has no form. This is untrue. The Lord keeps his transcendental form, and at the same time, he extends everywhere, in every nook and corner of the material creation. So that is the Supreme Lord. He's present at one place and he's everywhere at the same time. So he's everywhere in his Paramatma feature, he's everywhere, and in his Brahm Jyoti feature, he's everywhere. But he's not everywhere as Shyam Sundar Krishna feature. That he is only in Golok Vrindavan and also wherever his devotees are. That's a different story. But other than that, he's not everywhere. And that's why when Mayavadis say, no, he cannot be everywhere. He can only be, if he is everywhere means he cannot have the form. That's like putting a condition on Supreme Lord. He's beyond all the conditions that we can think of. That's why it's called the Supreme Absolute Truth. Absolute means all the contradictions that we can think of exist in him. And that's why we try to understand him with our limited, very tiny intelligence. How is it possible? Just like I posted that interpretation of Ramayana by somebody. Of course, he has to be Mayavadi, whoever did that. And if you read that, it just doesn't make sense at all. Doesn't make any sense. But they write like that, and people get so attracted to all these kind of writings. Oh yeah, Ram means the mind, or whatever he was writing. I was laughing after reading a couple of lines. So what is the need to give any interpretation to Ramayana? Where is the need? Just read it as it is and become his devotee. But no. We have to do something special. We have to write something special just to show how intelligent we are. But in the eyes of the Supreme Lord and in the eyes of his devotees, that person is a fool number one. He's a rascal number one. Krishna himself says, Mula. They're the Mulas. The Avajananti Mam Mula. They don't know me. The only way to know him is by doing bhakti. And then everything will be realized. Okay, so I guess we can stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments?
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Manta. Thank you. How's your health now?
मेरा भी ऐसे ही है और घर में हस्बैंड का तो ज्यादा ही खराब है हाल.
हो जाएगा ठीक.
फादर इन लॉ भी बेचारे ऐसे ही डगमग हैं. अभी तो ऐसे ही है प्रभुजी. अपना ध्यान रखो भाई.
Yeah.
Take care of everything.
Okay, I guess we can stop here. You all have a safe and wonderful day.